take a couple of chairs down.
Monday, December 18th. The time is 6:07 p.m. I'm sorry, 6:06 p.m. This is the regular session of the School Board of Trustees of the School City of East Chicago. The place is the Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street, East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. We're also via live stream, www.sec.k12.in.us. This is a meeting of the school board in public to conduct the school corporation business, and it is not to be considered a public community meeting. Madam Secretary, call to order.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Present.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Present.
Trustee Smith?
Present.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Present. Please rise for the posting of our colors by the junior ROTC. And please.
Color guard, attention. Carry, colors. Forward, march. Left, 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 left. Mark time, march. Color guard, pull. Post.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
About face. Post. Left face. Forward march.
You may be seated. The first item, or the fourth item, would be the agenda. This is 4.01, the approval of the agenda. Are there any comments from the audience for approving the agenda today? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion for approval of the agenda.
Motion made by trustee Smith. Is there, seconded by trustee Gomez. Is there any comments or questions? Hearing
Trustee-
none.
No, I do have a comment.
Hernandez Orange.
When it comes to the presentations, and I do appreciate the fact that the individuals for the proclamations are being noticed, I did have a concern in regards, not a concern, but I just wanted to bring up in regards to the Emilio de la Garza proclamation, and as well as the Harold Gomez proclamation. And I say this because in your first term, as well as trustee Gomez's first term on the school board, none of this actually was a topic. No proclamation was ever made. As a matter of fact, I had to research to see if there was any proclamations that were made, and I don't know if I missed any, but I don't remember seeing any. And I say this because I believe this is a hot topic that's, in the city because of the council, because of the naming of the De La Garza Heritage Hall situation, but yet the school board is now inserting themselves and adding a narrative. And this is one thing that, I believe that we should definitely stay out of, other than teaching our students where we came from and who we are. But now we're adding a proclamation in the midst of what's going on. If this was something that was truly genuine, it probably should have happened not while the council is in the argument with the mayor and the rest of the city. So I have a mixed emotion, disappointment, yet I'm glad this is on here in a sense. But I hope that the school board moving forward stays out of city business. And if you do something, it's for the kids and not just to insert themselves in an action that's going on in the council.
I do want to comment that Emilio de la Garza, it started with, with the removal of Emilio de la Garza Career Center over in Columbus Drive. And when Ivy Tech bought it in 1996, they removed the name. Second thing is, he's a native of East Chicago. He's a student of Washington High School. He served, at the age of 20 is when he had his heroism, occurring in 1970 when he made a sacrifice for his two fellow Marines. And during the imminent danger, without hesitation, this soldier fearlessly, into the, jumped on the grenade to protect his two comrades. Yes, we do have a policy that states that we can do awards, and I think this, to me, hopefully this could be the first, but not the last, in terms of making sure that we have our students recognizing some of the heroism here in our community. So that's one of the reasons why that I accepted this as well as the others.
No, and I 100% agree. It's just the timing of it just makes it seem, ungenuine. If we would have done it years ago, or if we would have done it, I don't know, a month ago, 2 months ago, then again, I understand. I read up on who the individual is. As a matter of fact, this was somebody who lived down the block from my father. So I understand the history. I understand all of that. I just wish that the school city was not inserting themselves in city business. With that, I'll just leave that alone.
You're bringing up another conversation with the city. This has nothing to do with the city. This is dealing with school city and recognizing two individuals that have not only gone to school here, one was a Washington senator. I'm assuming they both were, We're not in conflict with the city. We're not, this is totally, have nothing to do with that. It's just mainly just focusing on what we're doing here today, and that's not only acknowledging these individuals as well as the awards, but we're going to continue on doing that.
Mr. President,
Trustee Smith?
Trustee Hernandez, no offense. I'm not familiar what's going on with the city. The proclamation, I do understand. I would like to recognize different heroes from different diversity community. We celebrate, I'm not trying to throw in racism, so don't get me wrong. If we celebrate Martin Luther King's Day and we have other days that we have African-American heroes or whatever that they did within the wars and have received such honors, I would be more than honored to do that. So I don't have a problem with this as long as we don't try to name schools or anything like that. Now, you can give them a day, and that's honorable because we are a very diverse community, and we have to be able to come together. So as far as the city is concerned, I'm not a part of that because I'm not listening to what's going on with the city. My main concern is the school and the children. So if this is a part of our culture, of their culture, then I have to go along with that. So I can't disagree. I can't agree with you on that. So it's a part of our children's culture, and we must not lose our culture, no matter if you're African-American or whatever. Because if it was an African-American or Hispanic or whoever, I would want them to be honored. So I'm in agreement with the president.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Okay. We can announce them if possible. Next, we will have the presentations, 5.1. We're going to start with the proclamations. The first will be Emilio de la Garza, presented by Dr. Mitchell. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a proclamation. It reads, whereas Emilio Albert de la Garza Jr. was born on June 23, 1949 in East Chicago, Indiana, and whereas Emilio Albert de la Garza attended East Chicago Public Schools, graduating from East Chicago Washington High School in 1968, and whereas Emilio Albert de la Garza subsequently enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, and whereas after completion of his basic training at Camp Pendleton, California, Emilio Albert de la Garza Jr. was promoted to private first class on July 1, 1969, and later promoted to Lance Corporal on February 1, 1970. And whereas during the Vietnam conflict, Emilio Albert de la Garza Jr. was serving as a machine gunner on a squad night patrols south of Da Nang in Republic of Vietnam when his Marine Rifle Squad took hit and run fire in the morning and then pursued the enemy. And whereas Emilio Albert de la Garza Jr. spotted one of the Viet Cong fighters hidden in a deep pond and went into the water with his knife, taking the enemy fighter as his prisoner. And whereas while being brought to the shore by Emilio Albert de la Garza, the enemy prisoner pulled out a hidden grenade and pulled the pin at the shoreline. And whereas Emilio Albert de la Garza shouted a warning and placed himself between the enemy prisoner and two other Marines and was killed while engaged in his efforts, saved other Marines from the ensuing grenade blast. And whereas the actions of Emilio Albert de la Garza Jr. represented his unselfish valor and heroism above and beyond the call of duty on April 11, 1970, by saving the lives of his comrades at the sacrifice of his own life. And whereas Emilio Albert de la Garza Jr. was posthumously presented the nation's highest military honor, the Medal of Honor, as a result of his prompt and decisive action and great personal valor in the face of almost certain death, and upholding and enhancing the finest traditions of the United States Marine Corps. and United States Naval Service. And whereas 10 years after the death of Emilio Albert de la Garza, Jr., the school city of East Chicago dedicated a new building in honor of Emilio Albert de la Garza, Jr., a product and honored alumnus of the school system. Therefore, now it resolved that the East Chicago School Board recognizes the heroic actions of Lance Corporal Emilio Albert de la Garza, Jr. by proclaiming that annually on April 11th, all school city of East Chicago schools will take a moment of silence to honor the memory of his sacrifice to preserve the freedoms, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that we enjoy in America and in East Chicago today. Signed by Joel Rodriguez, School Board President, Patty Jo Gibson King, Vice President, Jesse Gomez, Secretary, Diane Smith, Trustee, and Vanessa Hernandez Orange, Trustee. This will be presented to the family of Emilio Albert de la Garza or his designees.
The next proclamation we have is with, I believe he's Corporal Harold Gomez.
Yes. And the proclamation reads, whereas Harold Gomez was born on September 30th, 1946 in East Chicago, Indiana, and whereas Harold Gomez attended East Chicago Public Schools, graduating from East Chicago Washington High School in 1965, and whereas Harold Gomez subsequently enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, attaining the rank of corporal, and whereas during the Vietnam conflict, Corporal Gomez was serving as a fire team leader during a search and destroy operation against Viet Cong forces in Quang Dinh province in the Republic of Vietnam on February 21st, 1967. And whereas when Corporal Gomez's platoon came under heavy attack by a numerically superior force, Corporal Gomez maneuvered his fire team into a position where direct and devastating fire could be placed upon the enemy, inflicting numerous casualties. And whereas a friendly machine gun to the right of his fire team, operated by a single wounded gunner, was running low on ammunition with a complete disregard for his own personal safety, Corporal Gomez ran 3 times through a hell of enemy fire to get the badly needed ammunition to the wounded gunner, enabling the gunner and the members of his platoon to maintain fire superiority over the enemy forces. And whereas after the hostile fire force was driven off, Corporal Gomez immediately reorganized and placed his fire team into defensive positions, and realizing the area was heavily mined and a potential threat to his platoon, Corporal Gomez commenced a thorough search of the area, during which he was mortally wounded by an exploding mine. And whereas Corporal Gomez received numerous awards, including the Purple Heart, the Combat Action Ribbon, the Presidential Unit Citation, the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, the RVN Military Merit Medal, the RVN Gallantry Cross Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal, and the Rifle Sharpshooter's Badge. And whereas Corporal Gomez was posthumously awarded the Silver Star Medal for his courageous leadership and heroism by putting the needs and safety of his troops and fellow service people before his own, and in the face of great personal risk, his bravery and loyal devotion to duty was in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Marine Corps and United States Naval Service. And whereas, decades after the death of Harold Gomez, the U.S. Senate and U.S. Congress, acting in a bipartisan manner, dedicated the Main Street Post Office in honor of the honored alumnus and product of East Chicago Public School System. Therefore, be it now resolved that the East Chicago School Board recognizes the heroic actions of Lance Corporal Harold Gomez by proclaiming that annually on February 21st, all school city of East Chicago schools will take a moment of silence to honor the memory of his sacrifice to preserve the freedoms, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that we enjoy in America and in East Chicago today. Signed by Joel Rodriguez, School Board President, Patty Jo Gibson King, Vice President, Jesse Gomez, Secretary, Diane Smith, Trustee, and Vanessa Hernandez Orange, Trustee. This proclamation will be presented to the family or designee of Harold Gomez family.
5.02, we do have certificates. We'll start with Marie Baker.
Ms. Baker, can you please stand?
Okay, I'll take this one.
We have a certificate for Miss Marie Baker. She's been with the school district for a number of years and doing an excellent job at serving our students as a paraprofessional. At Lincoln Elementary is her last post that she's serving at. This certificate reads, Certificate of Excellence. This certificate is proudly awarded to Marie Baker for your extraordinary service and contributions to your profession. We are delighted in providing you this certificate to you, signed by Board President Joel Rodriguez and Board Vice President Patty Jo Gibson King. And we're pleased to say that at the end of this, there will be refreshments out in the vestibule that to honor and recognize the service of Ms. Marie Baker.
You guys want to take a picture with? Let's all take a picture with. We're going to all take a picture with, just stay there.
That's what I.
And Ms. Baker would like to say a few words.
No, I didn't, okay. Do I have to talk to this?
You can, we want to
No,
capture
I can
what you
talk
say.
loud enough for them to
Okay.
hear me.
I just wanted to make a short story long. My father came here from Birmingham, Alabama, in a boxcar that animals should have been in to come to Chicago. Because they thought he was involved in something against the status quo, which is against anything that somebody says that they don't agree, that they can tell somebody else what to do. So when he got here, he went with some of his family to a place that we call Inland Steel, one of the biggest steel mills in the world. And we sat on it every day. He was told that he could,
Yeah, this is for the
he,
for the video. Go ahead, you can just speak. I can hold it for you.
okay, he was then put in this plant. When I was 5 years old, he took me to see what was happening out there. That was the first time I heard of strike, other than the fact that when you hit somebody. They were on this picket line, they was chanting. There was a man there that gave me an ice cream cone. I never will forget his face. I learned later in life what this was all about. These people were trying to get something, a word that Webster put in the dictionary called decent. Decent wage, decent home, decent food, decent clothes, to live a decent life. So he said all the time that he was in this boxcar, biscuits was following him because he was so hungry. But he didn't let it make him evil and brutal. In fact, he did something like, I guess, took on the likings of man's humanity. So he taught us the same way. I come from a family of 10, I'm the last one of them. And in there he said to us, I'm not asking you to be good, because you're not going to do that. There was only one man that set his foot on this firmataire that was good, and he said it wasn't him, because he had taken on the likeness of man. It was his father. So in this house, I'm telling you now, I'm not asking you to be good, but you got to be decent. So that decent is a word that sets a standard for anybody to go by and live by. So I'm just saying, you know me, I have not been good. But I do hope that somewhere along the way, and I met everybody here, either sitting down at a table eating, a discussion, even a little bit of a fight. But I hope that I've been decent. Thank you.
have another award for Ms. Jada Sellers. Ms. Jada Sellers, can you please come to the front? You know, it's not that often that there's a Lilly Scholar that comes into this community. However, for the past 3 years, we've had a Lilly Scholar, and this year we're culminating with our third Lilly Scholar, Ms. Jada Sellers. I've known Ms. Jada Sellers since she was a itty bitty, and to see her grow into, pull the mic down. All right, and to see her grow into this fine young woman that we have before us, we do want to make sure that we acknowledge and recognize your hard work and efforts and the diligence that you put forth to become the scholar that you have arrived. And Ms. Jada, this certificate basically reads, Certificate of Excellence, proudly presented to Jada Sellers for your efforts on becoming a finalist for the Lilly Endowment Community Scholarship. The Lilly Endowment Community Scholarship Program is designed to help raise the level of educational attainment in Indiana, increase awareness of the beneficial roles of Indiana community foundations, and can play in the communities and encourage efforts of the Lilly Endowment Community Scholars to engage with each other and with the state leaders to improve quality of life in Indiana. We are delighted in providing this certificate to you. Signed by Board President Joel Rodriguez, Board Vice President Patty Jo Gibson King, Board Trustee Vanessa Hernandez Orange, Board Secretary Jesse Gomez, and Board Trustee Ms. Diane Smith. And we also have Ms. Jada Sellers' family here. We have her grandmother as well as her mom. So if you all can please stand also. Ms. Jada Sellers.
Hold it, we're going to take a picture too.
The school board will now come to take the picture with you.
That's a little plug for you, okay?
And Ms. Jada, before you leave, as always, I believe the last two Lilly Scholars, they did have a billboard on Columbus Drive and Railroad Avenue that was dedicated. And shortly after this holiday season, when the holiday sign goes down, your sign will go up. So, thank you. And also, would you like to say a few words?
I just wanted to say thank you, and that I am both grateful for the opportunity and everyone who helped me to achieve up to this point, and that I am proud to be able to represent both the school city and the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Jelly. We're proud of you.
So at this time, is there any comments from the audience of any of our awardees at this time? They'd like to say a few words?
Any comment? One more.
Any comments from the audience? You please approach the mic.
Good evening. Princella Askew, 2705 East Guadalupe Circle. From the homeowners, renter, and voters, Jada Sellers, we would like to salute you for being selected for the Lilly Endowment Community Scholarship. Your participation as varsity captain of the volleyball and manager of the boys basketball team is well noted. You're also a member of the History Club and then NHS and works at the local sandwich shop. Jada's positioned for all things sport run deep. She plans on majoring in kinesiology to help improve athletes' lives. Jada is totally deserving of this scholarship, and her parents are grateful and thankful as well. For those of you that want to know what the Lilly Endowment Community Scholarship Program is designed to help raise the level of education attainment in Indiana, increased awareness of the beneficial roles Indiana Community Foundation they could play in their communities, and encourage efforts of Lilly Endowment community scholars to engage with each other and with state leaders to improve quality of life in Indiana. Thank you, Jada. We are proud of you to be one of East Chicago's finest.
Dr. Mitchell, I think we have one more, right?
Yes, we have one more award. Trustee Vanessa Hernandez-Orange, can you please come to the front? I believe that Trustee Orange started this journey as a member of the school board 7 years ago, right?
Yep.
6 years ago. 6 years ago. And in that 6 years, we've been through a lot of change. And a lot of that change, the positive things, was led by Vanessa Hernandez-Orange. Always been a voice for the students, always been a voice for the athletes, and never letting her voice shrink while at the table defending those that what she believed in. Today, we present you with the Certificate of Appreciation, and it reads, "This certificate is proudly presented to Vanessa Hernandez-Orange for dedicated efforts and support of the School City of East Chicago Board of Trustees, awarded this day of December 18th, 2023. Signed by Board President Joel Rodriguez, Board Vice President Patty Jo Gibson King, Board Secretary Jesse Gomez, and Board Trustee Diane Smith." Vanessa Hernandez-Orange. Thank you. And as with the others, let's do a picture. Let's do a picture. I put on my good suit today, Pastor Wade. And we're also going to have the Board of Trustees come and join us for a picture, and then you'll have an opportunity to share some words.
So I knew I was going to have to say something today, so I just wrote it out in my resignation letter. So it states like this: "I'm writing this letter of resignation with mixed emotions, sadness, and excitement. As of December 31st, 2023, I will no longer be able to serve as a School City of East Chicago Board Trustee. I have served the school district as a secretary, a coach, a school board member for over 16 years. While I may not be serving the school district in an official capacity, rest assured that I will always remain an advocate for the students of East Chicago. With that, I would like to thank the residents of the City of East Chicago for trusting in me to represent you on the school board for 6 years. I believe I diligently tried to progress our school district and actively showed up not only for students, but for staff and parents when no one was looking. To all staff, I wish you all nothing but best wishes. The vast majority come to East Chicago daily because you love our students. I thank you for making sacrifices and giving all of your time to our children. Please know that as a school board member, I always appreciated you. I hope that this next school board, as an entire unit, recognize that you, all staff, are deserving of recognition always. Good luck to everyone who is a staff member of the School City of East Chicago, because you will need it. Thank you to all my mentors along the way. I took the position as a School City of East Chicago Board Trustee because I was disappointed in almost everything within the school district. My mentors helped me realize that you must find the good in something and celebrate. Jada Zellers is one of those today. They showed me how to research, they showed me how to articulate my concerns, and showed up for me when I needed them. I thank you all.
Okay. I believe. Does any board members want to make a comment at this time?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
I'm not going to take long. You see this tablet, it's not the whole speech. Just. To Trustee Orange, these last years on this board serving with you, I want to say thank you for all the heart, all that you have contributed to our district. I personally want to say I have inherited a lot of knowledge from you. You have helped me understand how to research, ask questions, stand for what I believe, and vote from my heart. Yes, we have had agreements and disagreements, but that's what makes a board functional. I must say you are a true advocate for our district, sometimes a little bit over the top, but you display how sincere you are about our children, staff, community, and the entire district. I must say I am looking forward to you being a part of the community because I know you have the district at heart. But please do not comment after every agenda item. You only have 2 minutes, but I know you will because School City of East Chicago is in your heart. You taught me so much, Vanessa. You have no idea. And we don't want 4-hour meetings anymore. But knowing you, Trustee Orange, that's what makes you a fighter and a very knowledgeable person because you truly want our school district to be a level of excellence. Also, remember, you only have 3 minutes during public comment. May God bless you in your next position, and don't forget to sign in up for being a volunteer. But everybody knows I'm a crybaby.
And that's why we brought some of that.
Yes. Pass them down.
Okay, is there any other board members who would like to make a comment at this time? I just want to say, I've learned a lot from Trustee Hernandez Orange. We had our ups and downs, but more importantly, we've always respected each other, and I think that goes a long way. A friendship, trustiness, and having the ability to do what's right for this district. So I want to thank you for serving on the school board for 6 years. It just feels like it was just yesterday. So, so thanks again.
Thank you.
I want to wish Vanessa good luck on her next journey, another milestone that she's made in her life. And I just want to say that from my heart, Vanessa, okay?
Thank you.
You do well where you're going, and don't forget us.
Oh, I won't.
Okay, thank you.
And don't forget us.
Mr. President.
Trustee Gomez.
Thank you. Having served on the city council prior to being on the school board, and knowing Vanessa as I do, I think she's going to find it very boring over there. This is much more action packed, and you really get to, this is where the rubber meets the road here, and I think she'll find that over there to be a different experience, but most certainly, I think the best experience is the one that she had with us. But I also want to congratulate her for moving on and getting her bachelor's degree. So I think that's great of you. And so that's really what we should be doing is modeling for our kids. And I appreciate that you did that. And I know your parents and family are proud of you as well. So thank you for your service.
I believe we have some motions that we want to at least entertain at this point. Trustee Gomez?
Yeah, Mr. President, given the proclamations we have some action items associated with them. They require a vote by the board. So I'm going to make a motion to first approve the proclamation set forth and voted on by the school board for Emilio de la Garza.
Okay, a motion made by the first proclamation, Emilio de la Garza. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Smith. Any discussions at this time? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Mr. President, on
Trustee
the,
Gomez?
the second motion I'd like to make is for the approval of the proclamation for Corporal Harold Gomez.
Motion made by approving the proclamation for Corporal Gomez. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Smith. Any discussions? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. And I just want to say that somewhat what Diane Smith stated earlier, that sometimes our culture is not in our textbooks by the state, so it's important for us to acknowledge our own and our own community. And by doing that, it's providing a proclamation to not only understanding, or for the students to understand these days that we're going to be presenting to the community, as well as to our students, and acknowledging these individuals. So, next, item 6 is the consent agenda. Are there any comments from the
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
let's see, this one is for, it's, I guess I just want clarity. The one that has 7 $100 gift cards, and the second bullet point, I'm not clear on that. Public Works donation of Christmas gift to 25 elementary schools.
Dr. Mitchell?
Okay, yes, there's a donation from the young lady who made that donation, didn't want her name to be said, but she donated 7 $100 gift certificates to be given to a teacher that went above and beyond this school year. And that would, those teachers, the selection process was, the principals were engaged along with Ms. Sylvia Alvarez. They came up with criteria. The principal selected that teacher that went above and beyond, and those gift certificates will be distributed to those teachers on Wednesday during the MTSS meeting, I believe they're having, at each respective school.
I was more concerned about section, or part 2, which talks about 25 elementary schools.
25 elementaries. School students.
Okay.
Yeah, that's school students, it's 25 students.
And is that based on need or academics?
The criteria for these donations was outlined by the donor, and that information, the detailed information, Ms. Sylvia Alvarez can definitely share that.
Okay.
But it was, the donors, they all made it very clear how they wanted those dollars to be used and distributed within our district.
Thank you.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 7, old business, 7.1, the approval of the student handbook. Dr. Mitchell?
Yes, every year we make changes to the student handbook to make sure that we're current with the activities and the business that the students encounter. This year, we took a little longer to make sure that everything was done proper, decent, and in order with that handbook. And today, we present that for approval by the board to be disseminated to the students so that they have a clear understanding of what the rules, policies, and procedures are for them being a good student within the school city of East Chicago District.
Are there any comments from the audience in approving the student handbook? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve item 7.01?
Make a motion for approval.
Motion made by Trustee Smith. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Are there any discussions?
Yes, I have some discussion, Mr. President.
Trustee
About the
Gibson
student
King?
handbook. The only thing that I know me and Mr. Mitchell discussed was the students do not have any ID badges in the schools. And I do believe he told me that there was something that they were working on that's going to kind of like get started on this. So I'm waiting on Mrs. Leela Simmons to give me a copy of the paperwork, the last person or the company that they was contracted with to do these badges as far as the cost and what happened. But I want a copy of it. I asked Mrs. Leela to give me a copy. She can expound on it if she like.
Well, the last vendor that was.
Ms. Simmons, can you approach the mic so we can hear you on video? Thank you.
So the last vendor that was scheduled to do the badges, which was a state order, did the badges. So there are pictures and badges in the office. And at this point, I'm not for sure where they're at as far as the principals handing them out or anything, but there are badges in the office. And this vendor did complete the work.
Yeah, I'll get the copy from you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there any other discussions?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
on that note, I believe there was a approval of an item months ago that we did for lanyards. Correct? About 3,000 or 4,000 lanyards. What was the purpose of that?
The lanyards was for the IDs.
And so we did one without the other?
I'm sorry?
We did one action without the other?
No, we actually did the pictures first, and then we approved the lanyards later to get those for the IDs.
Okay.
Any other discussions? I do have one discussion. So the lanyards, because the student ID, do they wear on them, or do they they can put the IDs in their pocket? Do they have a choice?
No, they have to have a
They
lanyard.
have to have one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it has state regulations on the back of it, different numbers that, hold on, I can tell you exactly what it has to have.
Okay.
It has to have their lunch ID number, their STN numbers on there. They also have to have the crisis numbers on there for the Indiana state regulations now.
Okay. All right, any other discussions? Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 7.02, approval of regular school board minutes, 7/17/2023. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, we're aware that the minutes have been kind of delayed because of a lot of the business of the district. However, we do have a system that's in place to catch those minutes up, and as of this time, we are, we're asking for the approval of the minutes to go into public record for the 7/17/2023 meeting, and from this point forward, there'll be school board meetings presented every board meeting for your approval.
Are there any comments from the audience in approving the regular school board minutes 7/17/2023? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board approving item 7.02?
Madam Chairman, make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith makes a motion. Do I hear a second? I'll second that motion. Are there any discussions?
Mr. President, Mr. President.
Trustee Gomez.
In the packet, I have July 10th, and I have July 13th. Okay, here's July 17th. The previous motion was to approve minutes from the August 7th meeting, is that correct?
No, this is for the approval of board minutes July 17, 2023.
I understand that, but under consent agenda 6.01,
Yes. August 7th, 2023.
August 7th.
August, yes.
This one is.
okay, thank you.
Are there any other discussions? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes,
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Item 8, new business, 8.01, approval of personnel report. Dr. Mitchell?
Yes, this personnel report we're presenting for approval. There's not a lot of activities as this is coming to the end of the year. So before you, you do have a document, 3-page document that we would like to see approved tonight.
Are there any comments from the audience in approving the personnel report? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board approving item 8.01?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith makes a motion. Do I hear a second? I'll second that motion. Are there any discussions? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
yes,
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. 8.02, approval of claim dockets. Dr. Mitchell?
Yes, before you, you do have claim dockets for the week ending 12/18. We're asking for approval of the claims before you.
Are there any comments from the audience on approving the claim dockets today? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board to approve item 8.02?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval.
Motion made by Trustee Smith. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Are there any discussions?
Yes, Mr. President, I have some discussion on page.
Trustee Gibson King?
Thank you, page 15. The number is 114223. There are two claims here.
Not true.
That's for 2 different months.
Yeah, what you have before you, 114223, that is the professional services of our labor attorney.
Yeah, I understand what it's for,
And you say there are two separate months, right?
Right.
There's 2 separate months.
but you only
Correct.
have one date here for that.
I'm sorry.
You only have one date, one date for it.
That's when the checks were cut, will be cut.
But my question is this, that as we were talking, discussing, As we have been discussing, when we don't understand why these dollars are being spent, we have no clarification of any of these items here that's been spent. I know that there's a contract, but I'm not too familiar with it. But I know that there is no description of services for the services that has been rendered.
This is the retainer fee per month that they get for the 30 hours. So there's no description that is detailed in there.
Okay, but my question is, why isn't it not? Because I have other statements where there's detail from other people that render services as well, and they break it all the way down. There's nothing broke down here, so I'm just questioning why that is. You know, I am the financial chairperson, so
Yes.
I'd like to know.
Yes, there
why-
is two different types of services that's broken down by our labor attorneys. The first one is the retainer fee, which it covers the 30 hours. The second one is anything over the 30 hours is broken down in detail on an invoice.
I got the invoice right here. There's nothing on these invoices.
On the retainer, for the two invoices that you're referring to right here,
I have a lot of invoices. There's no search, there's no date, there's no question as to what has been rendered. There's nothing on here at all. So before
on
we get
which-
into any further discussion on it,
on which one? Is there a dollar amount on it?
yeah, all of them have the dollar amount, but there's no services rendered for what has been provided, is what I'm saying here.
Are you referring to the 4,500?
Well, before we get into any discussion,
Yeah. Attorney Harris, can you give us some more clarity as to?
Mr. President, before we do that, I'd like to
Contract.
also state that on page 14, there's another
yeah, another one
$4,500.
on page 14, couldn't find that one either.
Chairman, can I comment on this? So
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
if I recall correctly, at the beginning of the year, we gave Trustee Gibson King all the contracts for all the attorneys so that she could have, which in that, it states exactly the professional fee as needed. And the only time that our attorneys ask for the details is if a trustee actually asks for that. I know Trustee Gomez has asked Attorney Harris for that, but it is broken down. It says claim, there's a claim, there's different claim numbers. So while the check is cut on 12/19, there's different claims on the right-hand side of the description. So, and we've discussed beforehand that you cannot put a description of all of what the attorney does on this board doc, or on our board docs, because of the fact that, one, if it was outside, if they're defending somebody with names, that you couldn't have this on here because that actually goes to the public. With that being said, again, there's already a contract that's in place, and if you're going to do it for one, then you're going to do it for all of them. And every contractor also, you can't just pick and choose who you want and don't want. So again, wasted time for the people who are working for the school district. If you have a contract, read it, understand it. If there's extras that's asking for, you could have asked ahead of time.
Mr. President, I'd like to clarify. I have other contracts here from Mr. Jewel Harris Law Firm as well. He has everything all broken down. It's the services that have been rendered, is what I'm saying here. The contract that you speak of that somebody gave me, I don't know who gave me the contract, so I don't know where you're saying I have all contracts when I got on the
Should've.
board.
I said you should've.
Well, I'm telling you.
That's what I asked him
Well,
to
I
do.
don't, because if I had them, I don't think that I would be here questioning what I have in my hands right now. So with that being said, before we get into any further discussion, I'd like to table this so that I can get an understanding as to what is going on here. Because I know we did have another person that does work with us, and we don't want to find ourselves just singling out a person, as was said from off the mic. We don't want to find ourselves doing that either. Because somebody else's contract was in question as well.
I'd like to hear Attorney Harris's comment on this.
Well, I don't want to comment just generally about it, but I will tell you that my understanding of the way the labor attorney's contract works is that the labor attorney now and the labor attorney before was on a retainer arrangement so that he would provide up to 30 hours of services for a flat fee of $4,500. And I've not seen invoices, right? I don't review those invoices, but I would assume that's what the invoice reflects, is the flat $4,500 that is included in the agreement. What the invoices look like, I have no idea.
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
while Attorney Harris is now involved in this, are any of the documents that any attorney provides to the school board for approval, are any of those documents confidential?
Some can be, most aren't, but some can be.
Okay. So if a school board member were to ask for contracts that are not confidential, they would be able to have them given to them, correct?
Yes.
Ms. Simmons, I asked you for contracts a couple years ago for Attorney Harris's law firm, and you told me that I'd have to come into your office to view them. Do you remember that conversation?
That was not me that you were referring to. You were talking to a superior that was over me that told you that.
No, you told me that. And so I just wanted to get that on the record. So these are public documents that the school board is entitled to, because we are voting on these, correct?
Yeah, any contract that the board approves is a public record, so yes.
And so, I kind of want to move on because I think Trustee Gibson King is onto something that maybe we haven't considered, then that as we move forward in developing contracts, that maybe we should include that as a part of the contract, that for particular legal services, that we ask for those details. And if we don't want to do that in writing, then I just at least want to go on the record now that we've heard Attorney Harris say that that I'm sure Attorney Cantrell would agree, that these records, these documents are public documents that the board is thoroughly entitled to.
Pay on the document.
Any other discussions?
She's
Yes.
asked to table it.
Yeah, I asked to table it to
So-
get further
so
discussion.
is that a form of a motion?
Yeah, to get further.
So we have a
discussion.
motion to table,
No.
what are we tabling?
She's asking.
We're tabling, the item here, on page 15, we're tabling the 114223.
11423? Okay.
Yes. And then on page 14, I'm trying to find out, did you see, what was the number on there, page 14? The number here is 114223 as well, page 14.
Can you speak up a little louder, please? We
Page
can't hear
14,
you.
page 14.
1142?
Yes, 114223.
22 and 23?
Yes.
Where's that? Let me see.
114223 here on page 15. And then on 14, it's the same number, 114223. Same number.
All right.
It's 3 different months paid
Yeah, right.
on one
3
check.
months. Yeah.
One check?
Yeah.
Okay. And these are retainers?
These are the retainers,
Okay.
yes.
Is there a second to a motion? The motion is to table 114223.
I'm inclined to second, Mr. President. I just want to make sure these are only retainer fees.
I sent over the total invoices to you through an email. Yeah, I sent over the total copies of the invoices of all of this docket.
Is that a yes or no?
I'm sorry?
Is that a yes or no? Are these retainers only?
These are $4,500 retainers a month.
Thank you.
Was there a second?
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
Table this.
Yes. Did you second it?
No, I
Trustee
wasn't
Gomez?
seconding it. I was going to second it, but I think she's answered my question,
Okay,
so I'm fine.
all right. Motion fails. Let's go back to the claim dockets, 8.02.
I have Chairman,
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
on page 10,
Yes.
and it is check number 114217. Can you explain to me what that is, please?
Yes. I believe we have Ms. Tammy Poe here. Ms. Tammy, can you address that claim?
It's right here, Tammy. It's on my screen.
It's McCain LLC.
114217.
A. McCain LLC.
Ms. McCain is at Washington. She is a speech pathologist who is assisting over there and doing assessments for us.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I
Yeah.
thought it was another contract that we have yet to pay, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't pay for the
Yeah.
contract for an attorney that was brought on by
No, that's
individuals.
speech.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussions?
Ms. President,
Trustee Gomez?
page 16, This claim is 114255,
What page is that?
page 16.
I have 6.
114255.
Ms. Simmons, page 16, 114255.
This is our hardware bill that our facilities go to get parts from.
One of these descriptions reads credit.
That means that they returned a part back to the company and they gave us a credit for it.
And the other two read monthly billing.
That means that we have account with them that they go and get their parts, and that would be our monthly amount that we paid for that month.
Do we have a monthly billing arrangement with Joseph's Hardware here in East Chicago as opposed to Lindy in Hammond, Indiana?
I do not know that. I would have to ask the facilities director on the details of that one.
Not every company could do that.
Dr. Mitchell, can we get that information from the facilities director, please?
Sure, I'll take care of that first thing in the morning. I'll get it.
I would really like us to be spending our money here in East Chicago where possible. And it seems to me that we have a hardware store that may be capable of covering items that total $54 or $700. These are relatively small amounts, but small businesses can use that money. And I just think we should be supporting our local stores as we're supporting Main Sport in the very next line item.
Any other discussions?
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment.
Trustee Smith?
I understand what Trustee Gomez is saying, but some hardware stores don't carry everything that we need. Lindy's and Joseph's are basically hardware stores that basically carry things that Home Depot, because our district and some of our machines and some of the things that we need, they're old and they are like the neighborhood hardware. Second of all, speaking of contracts, if we're going to go through this beginning 2024, that means everybody that has a contract, that's my opinion. Everybody that has a contract, if you want to continue to go through this, everybody that has a contract needs to have it jot down everything that they did from A to Z, from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. If you're going to do it for one, you might as well do it for all. And then that would solidify all of these questions about a contract and tabling. And if you want to just make it simple, you can give it to the superintendent. If you want it, then go to the contract and get it for yourself. To me, I think that's a waste of time. If a person has served and has done what they're supposed to do, and they can explain what their positions was, then I don't think that this is necessary. If you're a lawyer and then you want to have him see, want to see an invoice, then you should put that in his contract. If it's a contractor with Ms. Randolph, then put that in writing. Everybody should be on the same page, because we're not going to keep going through this in 2024, picking and choosing who we want contracts for. So I suggest that the policy committee come up with the policy so that we won't have these situations and can keep the meeting moving. Thank you. Let the record show.
At this time, I'm going to call the vote. Madam Secretary, roll call in regards to the 8.02 claim dockets approval.
Trustee Gibson King?
No.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 8.03, approval of MOU with Dunes Learning Center. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, the Dunes Learning Center It's a outdoor retreat that provides us with STEM activities for our students. This particular contract is for K-6, and it's for all of our students in Harrison, Lincoln, McKinley, and Washington, with various STEM activities that will take place throughout the 2023-2024 school year. We're asking for approval of this MOU as it provides our students with wonderful experience and exposures to the environment they ordinarily wouldn't have in the current classroom setting.
Are there any comments from the audience in approving the MOU with Dunes Learning Center? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board approving item 8.03?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Motion made by trustee Hernandez Orange, seconded by trustee Gomez. Are there any comments? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 8.04, approval of MOU with Fairhaven. Dr. Mitchell?
Yes, this MOU is a memorandum of understanding with Fairhaven. It's a rape crisis center, and what they provide us is they provide us with some training in the child's lures prevention and think first and stay safe. These are things that tools that our students, what they train our students with is to give them tools so if they encounter any adverse situations, they'll know how to deal with it and going forward. And a lot of it is really just the steps to stay safe. We feel that this is a worthwhile program that will provide our students with tools that they that they would need in this community to be safe and to stay away from harms, and so they'll know what to do if they find themselves in harm's way.
Are there any comments from the audience in approval of MOU with Fairhaven? Here, do you have a comment, ma'am? If you can just approach the mic, just say your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Potter, and I am from Fairhaven Rape Crisis Center, and we are located in Highland, Indiana. I just wanted to introduce myself and put a face. As a prevention and education coordinator, we fully believe in all of the curriculums that have been vetted by the state of Indiana and the Department of Education, and we feel that this is a wonderful opportunity to train our students, to teach our students how they can best protect themselves with their safe adults. As far as our address is concerned, Highland, Indiana, I don't have it memorized yet because I'm still fairly new, but I do live in Michigan City, so I'm just visiting today.
Thank you.
2645 Ridge Road.
Thank you. I don't have it memorized yet, I'm so sorry.
Are there any other comments from the audience at this time? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board approving items 8.04?
Chairman,
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
I'd like to make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Hernandez Orange, seconded by trustee Gomez. Are there any discussions?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
if I could ask, can you go in a very brief, like what your curriculum would be, number one and number two? Are you working with other school districts in the area?
So yes, we do work throughout Lake Porter and LaPorte County. Our primary focus is Lake County. We recently were at East Chicago Block Middle School just a couple weeks ago, presenting to 7th and 8th graders. Last week I was in the Hammond District speaking with 9 through 12, but we do K through 12. Some of the things that we do for our Think First and Stay Safe, we have a couple of different levels. We have the K through 2nd grade, and then we have a 3rd through 6th grade program curriculum. Basically, it's based on 7 cornerstone principles, those being using your built-in computers, people who are like the weather, or how they are like the weather, where we can get trusted adults who can help us, child luring, also known as tricking children into doing things that they shouldn't do, laws that help protect kids because kids have rights too, and listening to our instincts, those internal messages that our bodies send us, the kindness of strangers, who they can seek out if they're in a public domain and they need assistance, and then their dignity, how each person is special and how no one can ever take away their dignity. That's the K through too. And then for the grades 3 through 6, it builds upon that, and it teaches them more concepts on how to recognize and to evade any child lures that can commonly be used against them, and to prevent grooming and to prevent abuse against youngsters. As far as the high school level, the middle school and high school, we utilize the Monique Burr Foundation Teen Lures Program, and that describes how students can help to keep themselves safe by finding a trusted adult to speak with at all times, with also teaching them the signs and the red flags for abuse, the 4 types of abuse: emotional, physical, neglect, and sexual abuse, and then human trafficking. And so there's 5 cornerstone principles in that. Basically, it's know what's up. In other words, understanding what's going on around you. And number 2 is to spot those red flags, to be able to identify what some of those red flags are, so that students can say, hey, there's something wrong here. My gut instinct is telling me I need to go talk to an adult for help. The 3rd one is making a move, and that's making that move to go talk to the adult, followed by talking it up with a safe adult. And then finally, no blame, no shame. We don't blame our students for any mistakes that they've made. We just ask them to learn from those mistakes, because we all have made mistakes. And then we don't want to carry on that blame and shame them in that respect. So those are the primary overall arching items that we discuss.
Those are good. So is this a voluntary effort for students, or I'm trying to figure out how do you engage a child into something like this?
Well, we do utilize a PowerPoint presentation.
I mean, in terms of getting them interested in even listening to the presentation.
Usually we visit them in their classrooms, and so we're, along with their teachers, are with them in the classroom, and we try to keep it, as lighthearted for the younger kids as we possibly can in talking about a serious situation. So we don't call anyone out if that's what you're asking. We just, go ahead.
So what it basically is part of a mandate by the state called Aaron's Law. It's a state mandate which requires the Indiana Department of Education to implement curriculum on sexual abuse, child abuse. It was born out of, I just walked from over there. It came out of Erin Marin, who was sexually abused herself twice, once by a family member, the second time by a neighbor. Not only was she abused, her sister was also abused. Come to find out, a cousin was abused. So out of this came Aaron's Law. So Aaron's Law was first adopted in Illinois, and then other states picked it up. So the way that we do it, we did it at block. We did it by grade level, and having them come in 2 classes at a time in the library. They come in, they listen to it. She also has some activities that the students do to let them know, hey, we're here for you. Do you want to put down something that we need to be aware of? And so that is in connection with the counselors and the social workers. That's all part of the SEL support system that I hope I help. So that's part of all of that SEL curriculum. There was a similar program to this when I was in Hammond. Frank Mervan, he brought it to our schools in Hammond with the North Township. So I like Fairhaven because her activities and what she implements is age appropriate. Now, there may be certain words that you could say with a kindergarten, like private, part. But then as you become 12th grade, you say actually what it is, the regular anatomy, the word. So there's different approaches to her delivery, and it depends on the age.
Thank you, it was very helpful.
Thank you.
I have no other questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, I did
Any other
bring
discussions?
items. I
Go
have
ahead.
examples if you'd like to see them. You can have them.
If you have time, thank you.
Any other discussions? Madam Secretary, roll call, item 8.04.
Yes. Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez-Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. 8.05, approval of Ivy Tech agreement. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, as we continue to build our relationships with our community partners, Ivy Tech being one of them, we also are trying to reduce our costs, but yet bring in quality training. So with Ivy Tech, this MOU is to partner with their work study program, and that is bringing their students in who have work study to work with our children at the elementary school. In this case, it's McKinley, to ensure that we have those tutors that we need. The work study student not only get paid for that, Ivy Tech takes care of that cost with the federal work study program, and they also get service learning credit as well as credit for the class they're in, and many of them are in the humanities, in their humanities coursework. So this is a worthwhile program that we're utilizing at McKinley this year that we want to expand to the rest of our schools in the coming academic school year.
At this time, is there any comments from the audience in approving the Ivy Tech agreement? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board? Approving item 8.05.
Mr. President, I move for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Smith. Are there any discussions?
Chairman,
Trustee Hernandez-Orange?
I just want to make sure that our attorney reviewed this prior to us getting this,
I did.
and we are in agreement.
Yes, I am in agreement. I do recommend approval.
And just to make sure that after approval, all the items that are left empty will be checked off as well as entered.
Yeah, because
The agree, right, I know, I'm just saying. I know that Trustee Gomez likes to always make that point, so just make sure we add that on there after approval.
Any other discussions?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Trustee Gomez?
Just on number 7, does that cover us with the, in terms of doing background checks on these individuals? Because I didn't read it in here.
Our policy is that any person coming into the school district, whether it's student, volunteer, they must complete a background check. So yes.
Good.
Any other discussions? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes,
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Item 8.06, approval for the use of Central High School by item office. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, the Indiana Department of Emergency Management, periodically, they have to do community forums, and this community forum they would like to hold at Central High School. They're expecting 100 to 200 citizens to come in, and this is regarding the permitted source of Cleveland Cliffs, and it's giving the community the opportunity to speak on the need and access of Cleveland Cliffs and how they are being or not being a good community partner in terms of air quality within the city of East Chicago.
Are there any comments from the audience in approving the approval of Central High School auditorium and by item? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board approving items 8.06?
Mr. President, I move for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes your motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Smith. Are there any discussions?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez.
just as a somewhat off base, but it's related to this. Many years ago, when the confined disposal facility was being proposed for the property north of the high school, one of the agreements of that, if I recall correctly, was to do air monitoring. I believe it could have been monthly, weekly, could have been daily, or ongoing basis. I don't know if you or Attorney Harris would know anything about that?
Currently or historically?
Well, I guess both would be helpful.
Historically, I'm familiar with what you're talking about. Currently, no, I'm not aware of any current
We
requirement.
could check into that. It's been on my mind for a while, and I just, never had the opportunity to bring it up, but I know it's not related to this, but if we could find out. Because I do believe IDEM was supposed to be reporting to the high school or the superintendent's office.
Right.
Okay, I'll check that
Now,
out.
with this particular one, it does state that, that they're requesting the use of the high school in regards to the draft air permit for Cleveland Cliffs in East Chicago. So it may be closely related. We'll check into that.
Chairman,
Yeah, go ahead.
couple things. One,
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
one, I believe they should have filled out this application as needed. Two, they needed the insurance policy. I'm sure they have it, but usually we receive it ahead of time. As well as, there's no statement saying that there's required police officers for this event, which, understanding and knowing how IDEM meetings have gone previously, it's always been asked for police officers to be at that event. So, I don't know if we could just add that to whatever, we send back to them after approval. That should be happening, as well as just to add, BP's actually, they have air, they're testing our air currently. So in some of our parks and some of our other locations, they have air monitors that were placed, I guess starting last year is when they did it. So they currently are testing our air. I don't know who gets that information, but I do know that that's happening currently.
Mr. President?
Attorney Harris.
Just one suggestion. I think it's a good idea that Trustee Hernandez Orange had regarding police presence. Sometimes the meetings can get out of hand, or it's good just to have a presence. But because it's a state agency, you may want to consider asking if they may have state police that would be available. Then we're not talking about a cost issue or coordination issue.
Yeah, I believe in the last paragraph, it also states that they do have insurance upwards of $5 million, but I didn't see a certificate of insurance, so.
So,
we'll make sure to
Mr.
have that
President,
present.
the reason they don't have a certificate of insurance is because they're self-insured, so they just provide a certification statement indicating the extent of their self-insurance for this type of activity. And that is included in that attachment.
Well, thanks for the clarification.
Chairman.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
I just want to state what Trustee Gomez stated in regards to the police officers. He said, can we keep the business inside the East Chicago? So we might as well hire our own police officers in the city of East Chicago for this, as well as usually what happens is if you're hiring somebody outside of East Chicago in the East Chicago building, they ask if it's okay. So we need to ask our police for the city, from the city of East Chicago.
Yeah, and Mr. President, I have one question to ask.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes, they, here they say that the week of 1/8, in order for the community to know the exact date that they're going to be there, are they going to give us an exact date? Because they say 1/8, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What's the right date for the community?
Yeah.
What is it on here?
What they said here is that because they don't know what the weather's going to be, and they said that it's going to be the week of 1/8, depending on the weather, and they could have a postponement, so I imagine they're going to give us a date that will be advertised. And, but they know that they want to have it on 1/8 because on 1/15, they have, they're also reserving another place, right? So again, I will make sure that we get all of the particulars and make sure that that's disseminated to everyone here in the board. And we definitely want to make sure we disseminate it to the community because we do want the community to be able to voice their concerns about our corporate partner that may or may not be polluting the air in our community.
Any other discussions?
Dr. Mitchell, thank you for just, for saying
Trustee
that.
Smith.
I was just going to ask you, would the public be notified of this, not only just on our website, but throughout the buildings?
Any other discussions? Okay. Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 8.07, approval of first reading policy, PO 8740, bonding. Dr. Mitchell?
Yes. The policy committee did meet, and we do have Trustee Gomez who will be sharing the approval of the first reading for the policy 8740 bonding.
Trustee Gomez?
Thank you, Mr. President. The policy wanted to bring some clarity to the language, thank you, of the current policy, which stops and says at the very end, the board shall bear the cost of bonding each employee required to be bonded by this policy. What we've added was including both employees subject to a position-specific bond and employees covered by the blanket bond. Is Ms. Simmons here?
Yes.
Ms. Simmons, we addressed this at the policy meeting because I believe at a previous meeting, you made a statement that you were the only one bonded. But it's clear in this policy 8740 that it goes beyond yourself. So we wanted to make sure that we were more specific about it. Are you aware of this policy?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Since I've been here since 2017, our bonds for our blanket bonds runs up under our Bremen Insurance. That bonds is for our number 1, number 2 clerks that is handling money. Also, we have a bond out there for our athletic director. So that has been in our insurance policy since I have been here since 2017.
And the question comes up about people who are outside of the people you just mentioned. For example, students and others, parents, who may be, asked to man the ticket gate or
They're
concession
covered.
stand.
They're covered.
They're covered
Under
by
that bond.
signature?
Because you have your athletic director that could be asking them to do it, or you have someone in the school building that can be asking them to do it. They are covered up under the bond. As I mentioned in that email that was sent out, that we should consider looking to add our teachers under that bond because of the fundraisers.
Yeah, and that's a good point, yeah. I know there's people beyond it, I'm not thinking like you are, that we should probably add. Do you think this policy covers that right now, or do you think that's something we should add to it?
Yes, that policy does cover it. From a prior experience that happened here before I got here, it did cover the teacher.
Okay, thank you.
As well as the extracurricular activities too, right?
All of the extracurricular activities, yes.
Any other discussions? Let me start by saying this. Are there any comments from the audience in approving the first reading policy PO 8742 bonding? Okay, hearing none. Madam Secretary, roll call for first reading.
Mr. President, I don't know that there was a motion yet, was there? I don't
Oh,
believe.
we didn't make
I
a
don't
motion.
believe there
Oh, is there a motion?
was- No, oh, I'm sorry.
Motion
Second,
made by Trustee Hernandez Orange, second by Trustee Gomez. We went through discussions. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 9, subcommittees. We'll start with 9.01, Finance.
There's nothing to report at this time.
We'll start now, next, 9.02, Policy. Trustee Gomez?
Thank you, Mr. President. There was a meeting of the policy committee beyond the policy we just approved on first reading. One of the other questions that the policy committee had was if we're in compliance with the ISBA mandatory policies, and after review, it appears that we are fully in compliance with the mandatory policies. There are some, however, that are recommended, and perhaps we could take those up next year. But for now, we are current.
Item 10, Superintendent remarks. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, thank you, President Rodriguez. Yeah, I would just like to begin by saying that as we come into the holiday season, I know I said this before, but I'm continuing saying it, this is a time that a lot of, I'm going to say, mental and emotional stress is placed on families and people within. There's also a time where we have an adverse number of health concerns that arise. Some of it due to the exhaustion from the air, some of it is working, some of it's just the stress that just happens during this time period. So I just want to make sure that we all are being cognizant of those around us. We're paying attention to what's going on, and that when we see something, we say something. We also want to make sure that we keep one another uplifted in prayer, because we never know what the person next to us is going through, but everyone's going through something. And let's just make sure that we're cognizant of that. But more so, I would like to take this time to really reflect on all of the gains that we've made this school year. We've had scholars. We had a number of students receive scholarships. We have, Jada is gone now, but a Lilly Scholar. We've also had tremendous success with our athletic programs. We've all witnessed really great deal of success and achievement with our arts programs, and just went to a play this weekend that was phenomenal. We have a lot of great things that's going on in the district, and we haven't done a great job at telling our story. I would like to say, as we reflect, let's reflect on all the great things that we've done, and let's share those good things so that the city of East Chicago knows, but more than that, that the world knows that East Chicago is here, that East Chicago is ready, East Chicago is willing, and East Chicago is able to do awesome things. And I think that if it doesn't come from us, then it won't come from anyone else. We have to do a great job at telling our story. And I just want this to be the start of us doing that. And anytime that you have an opportunity to share something positive about what you've seen, what you've experienced, even your experience in the school district. And it all begins, they always say it begins at the top, but I say that it can start anywhere. So it starts where you are, faculty, staff, student, community member. It starts with you. Thank you.
Item 11, trustee remarks. 11.01, we'll start with trustee Smith.
Yes, I'd just like to say to the community and to the staff, thank you for the support. I'm really proud of all the accomplishments that we have accomplished in 2023. We know it's been rough. We thought COVID-19 was something, but 2023 really showed us something. But I just want to say that coming into a new year, we need to come into a new attitude. Spiritually, financially, emotionally, we all need to come together as a community, which we did in 2023, to make this district work. This district can work, and we have all of the equipment that we need. Not only, like I said, spiritually, I'd like to thank the One Church, One School. I'd like to thank all the parents that are praying for their children. And you know, you'd be surprised at when you talk to a child about prayer in the schools, and you let them know, and it helps their day. And I've seen some children even walk up to, I can't call any names, but and just say, "Can you pray for me?" And then you just say, "Well, I'm having a rough day. I got a test today." So I'm just saying, 2024 has got to be better. Even though we're replacing Trustee Hernandez Orange, we have to have somebody that's going to be on the same page with the interim superintendent that we have. And let me just say this. In order to grow a flower, you have to plant a seed. You have to water it. You have to nurture it. Sometimes you have to prune it if it's a rose. So that's the road that we're on now. We're planting the seed and we're watching it grow leaf by leaf. Believe it or not, and I just kind of get overwhelmed, within the last 4 months, so much has been done from the last 4 years. So I have to just say this, and to bring Carrie Gosh pre-K to level 3, that's a major accomplishment. We were level 1. So I just want you all to know that No matter what people think, no matter what people say, you have to look at your surroundings and see the enhancement of your community. You might not be able to see it right now, but it is working. And I just want you all to know that we have to come together as a board and let the administration do what the administration's supposed to do and stay out of their business and let us handle contracts and let them do what they do in order to take this community to another level. And I just pray that the person that we get will be able to understand and not let politics get in the way. Because it's not about me, and it's not about the board. It's about our children. Our children, they are our future. And if we don't instill in them all of the morals, the values, and the spiritual, and to get up to succeed, we're failing. So we have to be on one accord, and we cannot continue to just go backwards. This is not 1998. It's not 1990. This is 2024 coming, if the Lord let us see it. So we must move forward. Let's get out of that back. The past is the past. If you continue to stay in the past, you can't move forward. So you have to either deal with the present and plan for the future, and that's what I see coming. Somebody planning for the future. You can agree with me or disagree with me. You're going to get on board or you're not. But guess what? It's going to work because, see, the God that I serve says, I have great and mighty things for East Chicago, because you're coming together as one. You're coming together as a community, not as a separation. We're coming together as a community to watch this grow. And I've seen the leaves beginning to come out of the soil. So let's just put all of this madness aside. And it's not about personality, it's about professionalism and about productivity. Thank you. And have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you. Trustee Gibson King?
Yes, I want to give a shout out to Katrina Alexander. She has another milestone for being selected as one of the teachers of excellence from the Allen Law Firm. She was selected out, I believe it was 4, but she was one that was selected, so I want to give her a shout out as well. Also, their Reggie Martin Basketball Classic. They will have 4 games here Saturday, December the 23rd at our East Chicago Central High School. And also, our pre-K is back at a level 3, which that is really a good thing because they are the foundation of our children. And I'm glad to know that they have been brought up by Mrs. Rancifer, who is the principal at the pre-K Carrigard School. And everybody that's here, I pray that you all continue to come back and do good for our children. You all have a blessed holiday. Happy New Year's to everyone if we do not see you, around that time. But thank you for coming and continue to come out.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Well, since this is my last one, I forgot to mention one of the reasons that I did run for school board, and shame on me, but it is the students of East Chicago. And I wanted to say that because off of what Dr. Mitchell stated, I remember sitting in the seats that they sit in, and people would say to me, well, you're from East Chicago, in a negative way. And that was even some of my family members that didn't even go to the city of East Chicago schools. And I would tell them, let me tell you something, I am from the school district of East Chicago. Watch. And I think they're watching. So with that, I want every child to know that it doesn't matter where you went to school. I don't want to knock any other school district. I just want you to know that you have the capability to be more than what you think. So that was one of the reasons I ran. I think during my 6 years, I asked to recognize 2 individuals, one being Costello Perez Sr. who is name supposed to be on the soccer field. I'm still waiting for that after 3 years ago. I know you hear me in the back, Ms. Simmons. But he was a community member, was a coach for many years at Washington, as well as at Central High School. And I think he finally needs to be recognized, as his name needs to be on that soccer field where it should be, because he has impacted many students through the game of soccer. But I also wanted to recognize Ms. Baker, and the reason for Ms. Baker, not just because she's family, but the reason why is because if you hear the students talk about Ms. Baker, they know she's there where she's missing. And to be an individual that students know who you are, that means you impact students, and she's been doing it for many years. But most importantly, living in a union town, she was one of the people who helped bring the union to our paraprofessionals. At the age that she is now, she was still fighting for what was right for individuals. So this is the reason why we had to make sure to recognize her tonight. Next, I also wanted to recognize Miss Katrina Alexander. I did attend the play on Saturday, and as always, you see a light in children. You know, I'm an athletic girl, that's me, but to see the light in other things, music and arts, it was great to see that in those children. So kudos to Miss Alexander for taking the time out to make sure to get this done. And to those students, one of the ladies actually who put the flag from the ROTC, she was one of the students, so it's good to see them involved. Finally, I have to mention the Reggie Martin Classic, because you got to put some emphasis behind it.
Go ahead.
So let me tell you about this Reggie Martin Classic. So first and foremost, Reggie Martin, who is a former student of the School District of East Chicago, who currently is working out in Macau, who is a liaison to the Stars, if we all know who Reggie is. But what he does is he comes and brings his story to our students every time he comes home. So he reaches out to our principals at different schools, and then what he does is he makes sure that they are able to hear where you could go to, because again, we want to make sure our students know that's not just here, you could impact other places. So that's what he's doing. So he reached out, and he's working with Cyrus as well, and they are bringing a tournament to the city of East Chicago, and it consists of 4 teams. Now, if you are a basketball player, you know Whitney Young is one of the top schools, as well as Kenwood. Gary Westside has an amazing team that's going on. So we are going to pack the house this Saturday on December 23rd. The games actually start at 2:30 p.m. So you'll have a full day of games here in our gym. Our gym hosts over 8,000 seats. It's going to be great to be able to see people packing that house again. You get to see our brand new floor, which is going to be amazing, another amazing thing to have. You could go on our website, you could go to Reggie Martin's Instagram, and there's a QR code so that you could buy the tickets early if you need to. Overall, it's going to be a good, fun time. The police are already on board to make sure everyone's going to be safe. We have administrators who are going to be there, and we have school members who are going to be there. This is a great way to kick off the holiday weekend, so come out and watch some basketball if you can. Done.
Trustee Gomez? Thank you, Mr. President. I've only got a few things. One, I just want to address the proclamations we did today. I was actually in New Buffalo a few weeks ago and picked up the local newspaper, and it was there I got the idea to do proclamations like this, because their school district over there was doing something very similar to what we just did tonight, and I thought what a great idea that was. And it reminded me of Tom Clark, the teacher over at Lake Central High School, who has done this, or who had done this for many, many years, promoted Veterans Affairs right there in the schools and talked to his kids about it, something you wouldn't think maybe would happen in Lake Central, but I think those two were inspirations for me to bring forth the proclamations tonight. Secondly, I did attend the music program over at East Chicago Central High School, and I just thought the band did a great job, given their, lack of, really kind of their first year in getting there going. And they got there really well. And so I wanted to congratulate the music department and those students who were part of that musical program. And then there's also one other item, and that's the story in the Times that just appeared, I believe, today. Felix Maldonado, who's also a graduate of the East Chicago Public Schools, has been named to draw a mural for the NBA All-Star Game in 2024. Starting in January, he's going to be going down to Indianapolis to do a drawing, a two-story drawing of the East Chicago Washington 1971 basketball team. And I just want to read a quote out of the paper here from Mr. Maldonado. I've had a good run. As you may know, he's done the Michael Jordan, two of the Michael Jordan displays here in East Chicago. His quote is, "I've had a good run with basketball-themed murals. This one's going to be a little tricky. I'm not going to be on a scaffold 2 stories high. In addition to the surface, it's a challenge to include a lot of detail. Other murals may be more flashy and aesthetic, but mine will focus on the environment out here in the steel belt. My ball will have metallic paints and rivets. It's going to have a story. I don't want it to be flashy and aesthetic. I want you to be able to walk up and look at it and learn from it. It should tell the story to let the viewer know what happened. My approach is to make it educational." And it's really nice to hear somebody talking about education, a product of our school district, and how important it is, even in the arts. Finally, Mr. President, I just want to thank you for doing a great job this year as board president. Thank you very much. That concludes my remarks.
Okay. Again, just want to talk about a little bit about the Carrigash Pre-K that Trustee Hernandez Orange, as well as Trustee Gibson King, has mentioned. Wednesday, December 20th, 2023 at 10 o'clock, from 10 to 11, there's going to be you're invited for the grand opening or the library relaunch at Carrigash Pre-K Learning Center. So those of you who have time, if you want to stop by between 10 and 11, it is an RSVP. So you would have to RSVP drancifer@ecps.org, and that's on December 20th, 2023. Just to note again, Reggie Martin's basketball. I heard so much about this guy. I've never met him personally, but I do follow him on Facebook, and he does travel a lot, various countries. But the good thing about this is that I will be there because, number one, it is my birthday on December 23rd, so you will see me there. I also want to acknowledge and commend the awardees today for their heroic acts, from our proclamations to our school board member who have served us for many, many years. And I just want to commend you guys for your hard work and diligence in making sure that this district continues to move forward. And final note, I would consider this a public announcement, so I will say this. So I do have to read it word for word. This will be the school board vacancy applications for School City of East Chicago. Today is December 18th. So the School City of East Chicago announces the vacancy of its school board created by the designation of Trustee Hernandez Orange, who was elected as an at-large member of the School of East Chicago Common Council. Ms. Hernandez Orange served as a school board member since January 2017. And her commitment to and diligent work on behalf of our students, staff, community is greatly appreciated. By Indiana law, Indiana Code 20-20. Oh, I'm sorry?
It's 2025. Go ahead. Yes, we changed that to 2025.
Over here? Okay. Indiana Code 20-25-3-4H requires the School City of East Chicago to promptly fill Ms. Hernandez Orange remaining terms on the school board, which runs through December 31st, 2025. State law requires the remaining school board members by majority vote to fill the vacancy by appointing a person who resides within the school corporation boundaries and meets all the residents and other qualifications required of the regulatory elected school board member. Those interested in being considered for the vacancy should email their letter of interest to any supporting materials to the school board attorney, Joe Harris, Jr. at jharris@harrislawfirmpc.net. Interested individuals who would prefer not to use an email may also drop off their information to the board secretary, Diane Bigham, at the school administration building located at 1401 East 144th Street, East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. Applications are due on the above email address or physical address by 4 p.m. Wednesday, December 27th. Candidates should be available for interviews on January 5th, 2024. The timelines for the process of filling the board vacancy is as follows. December 18th, which is today, was the announcement of the vacancy, which will be published. December 21st, 2023, the board meets to review process for filling the vacancy. December 27th, 2023, the deadline to submit letters of interest. January 3rd, the school board of 2024, school board meets in executive session to review applicants. January 5th, 2024, school board to interview applicants at a special board meeting. January 8th, 2024, school board will take official action to name the person to fill the vacancy. And on January 15, 2024, school board member will take the oath of office. January 22nd, 2024, the new school board member will take his seat at the official board meeting. So that concludes my public notice at this time with regards to the board vacancy. Next, we have our public forum. Attorney Harris?
Good evening, everyone. If you could step to the microphone, you have 3 minutes for your public comment. Please state your name, your address. Be respectful of the audience, the school board, and the staff that's present. Please refrain from discussing any personnel matters. Thank you.
Yes. And this notice would, and just to go back, this notice would also be posted at our administration building as well as on our website. Trustee Gomez.
Mr. President, before we move on, I just want to make a comment that the items you just read have not been discussed with the board. And so before we post anything, I'd like to suggest that we have a meeting to talk over the actual timeline here. This is the first time we've laid eyes on this document. The first speaker is Kelly Williams. Nothing. Thank you. And Justin Kidd is the next speaker.
Was that Justin Peters?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Helen Steinbeck's the next speaker.
Pastor Kidd is gone.
He's gone.
No, Pastor Kidd.
I know. Yes, you go ahead if you like.
No, there's a list. My name is Reverend Dr. J.C. Wade, Jr. I am the retired pastor of the Zion Church in Chicago. I am the CEO of the J. Wade Ministries, along with my wife, who is the executive director, who's here today. I'm also recently been appointed president of the One Church, One School. And before I make my remarks, I want to say that I agree with the Reggie Martin Classic. I was at Central today, and the young basketball players, they shared with us, we go every Monday. And so they shared with me, so I'm in agreement. with the Reggie Classic, and I plan to try to be there all as well. Now, that don't take my announcement is my remarks, right? Did I take all that? Okay. I just want to agree with the Classic, that's all I'm saying. My remarks are this. I certainly want to commend the board today for honoring the proclamation of Mr. De La Garza, Mr. Harold Gomez. There is what is known in the Afro-American tradition, what we like to call our history. And I want to commend you for remembering your history. I say that to say that today we have in front of us a man by the name of Dr. Mitchell is a part of our history. For the last few weeks that I've been coming to this board, everything is interim. We would like to stand today to say, it is time now to make this historical and elect Mr. Mitchell, Dr. Mitchell, no more interim, but permanent superintendent. It's time for us to deal with things as they are. We can expect your history. And I tell people all the time, in East Chicago, we have to magnify Afro-American men. And that's one of our men. That's one of our leaders. He deserves to be superintendent. Secondly, just like you had two, I have two. There's a man right here, Pastor Kelly, been in this community. We talking about community? He been in this community. I helped raise him. We'd like to see him on the board. We'd like to see him representing us. We would like to see that, and we stand in agreement with the J. Wade Ministries, one church, one school, with Dr. Mitchell as our superintendent, and Apostle Pastor Kelly Williams to be the next board member. Thank you.
Next speaker is Princella Askew.
Princella Askew.
I'll be respectable. My address is 2705 East Guadalupe Circle. First of all, I'd like to commend Dr. Mitchell, Ms. Leila Simmons, and all of those that participated at the dinner for the community. And I believe the dinner was sponsored by K-12. The food was delicious, the program was delicious, and everybody that worked so hard and just really served the community, I really appreciate it, because they didn't have to do it. So you need to give yourself a pat on the back. Next, Vanessa Hernandez Orange. Didn't want to leave you out. The homeowners, the renters, and the voters of East Chicago would like to thank you for your untiring service to the East Chicago School District, for the service you rendered as board president, board trustee, and dedicating your time for our children. You went out of your way to make sure that our children came first in academics and sports. You also supported events for the senior citizens of our community. We really appreciate it. And for special need kids, students as well. Good luck as you start your new job at large city council member. We look for your continued support in the community and the East Chicago Public Schools District. You totally will be missed. Merry Christmas to you and Happy New Year. And to all of the board members, I'm really praying for you, for all the things that I have seen within this year. Some was good, some was bad. I'm praying that the bad would go away and the good would come back. I do this every year. I pray for you guys, and especially for our kids. I love you all, and God bless you.
Helen Steinbeck.
Helen
Carolyn Steinbach, 5207 East 73rd Avenue in Maryville, Indiana. I have two things I'd like to say. Thank you to Trustee Orange for your service to our students and always having our backs. I appreciate that. And then I also want to support what Pastor Wade said, and let's remove that interim from in front of our superintendent's title as soon as possible. Thank you.
Cyrus McGinnis.
Good evening, everyone. First, giving honor to God, who's the head of my life, to the board, to the ministers that are present here today, and everyone that is here. My name is Cyrus McGinnis, and I'm the director of the Reggie Martin Showcase Basketball that will be taking place this Saturday, starting at 2:30 p.m. We're looking forward to some good basketball out there. I want to tell a little story right quick, how we came about with this showcase. It was, me and Reggie played against each other back in 1988. When I was on the Simeon High School team, we was the #1 team in the country. East Chicago used to come and invite us over to play at East Chicago High School. And we played against East Chicago, and we won. We won the game, but it was the friendship. And the blessed thing about it is that having this showcase got me my first scholarship opportunity. Having a showcase like this give kids opportunities, college coaches and stuff being there, and this really enhanced my career here in East Chicago. And me and Reggie, we remain friends throughout the years, and we're looking forward to doing even more. It's not just about the sport we're looking at doing in this community. We want no child left behind, so we're looking for other resources and stuff to help the superintendent and the board to be able to enhance other students that don't even play basketball, cannot afford to go to college. We want to bring more resources into this district so that way our kids are not left behind. I want to thank the administrative staff, AD, and the principal, and everybody that has supported this event. And may God continue to bless you all, and I look forward to seeing you all out there on Saturday. Another thing is that I'm trying to reach the middle school and elementary school, because I would like to see them come in and participate so they can see the future of what they're going into. So if somebody can just help me get with the principal, I would like to see their 7th and 8th grade boys and girls team to let them come on out and be a part of the Reggie Martin Showcase. That's it.
Yeah, just get with Dr. Mitchell at the end of the, yeah, just get with Dr. Mitchell at the end of the
Yes, sir.
presentation.
Thank you.
Mr. President, that was the last speaker.
It's $10 for students and adults. And we're letting all of the 7th and 8th graders in for free.
Okay.
All the 7th and 8th graders, and no, let's go back. The basketball team from your middle school and elementary school, let's see the list, and we're gonna let them all in for free. They're gonna have a special section for them that we're gonna honor them that night also to recognize them of coming in so they can see what they're going into for athletics though, okay? Thank you all.
Okay, our next date and time for our next meeting is January 8th, 2023 at the administration office. I want to let everybody know Merry Christmas, have a safe New Year, and can I get a motion to adjourn?
Trustee, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Trustee Hernandez Orange will make her final motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Gomez. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes, and that concludes our business portion of the meeting. Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone.